Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi guys, it's me, Coach Aqeel, here exclusively on VoUK TV, once again with another amazing show. I can't really wait to get this show going. I'll introduce you afterwards. As always, guys, please click like down below, click the subscribe button, and also click the notification button so that you get to know when the Mind, Body and Soul show goes out and you can watch the video first. Okay, so guys, my guest today that I'm going to interview, I'm interviewing a very good friend of mine. Her name is Belle Kai. You know what, I've been practicing the name all morning, and as soon as it comes to it, it just goes right. It's Belle Kai, and she's based in London, and she's got three names that she has on Instagram that I see floating around. And the first one, which I love, is the Mermaid Gangster. Second one is Empress of Love. And the third one is Spiritual Self-Love Teacher. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yeah, boss man. So, well, I'll let Bella kind of introduce herself and kind of like what she does, and then we'll get into this. So, Bella, give yourself a brief introduction. So, I've just called you Bella again.
It's fine.
It's Belle, but right.
It's absolutely fine. I have a lot of names, so it's enough fun. So yeah, I'm Belle Kai, spiritual self-love teacher, Empress of Self-Love, and I've been knighted the Mermaid Gangster. So I'm a single mom. I raised 3 children by myself. I've studied holistic medicine, and I've gone through a very interesting sort of self-development journey, which actually brought me to the work that I'm doing at the moment. And what I do now is I help women sort of like express themselves and sort of really get into their feminine essence and get that confidence that they need. So they've lived like it'll be usually women that have lived a long life of suppression and usually came from abuse, toxic relationships. And I found the root of it. So over my sort of, let's say, last 10 years, I sort of cracked the code, and I realized, oh, why did I end up in these toxic relationships? What was it that really started this off? So this is basically why I do what I do. I went through it, cracked the code, went into my self-development spiritual journey, and I just filled myself up with self-love. And I'm still doing that every single day, and healthy boundaries. And this is what I teach others. So this is what I do.
Brilliant. So I'm really kind of, obviously I'm really interested in kind of like, I like to hear about people's journeys, and I like to get into the nitty gritty. So you help people who've been in toxic relationships and probably abusive relationships, and you say yourself that you've been through that, and you've been through that journey. So at what point in your life did you kind of like say, actually, you know what, this is a problem, and you know what, this is what I'm going to do to fix it? When did that? How did that happen? How did that aha moment happen for you?
Wow. So this is beautiful, because that's how I start my book. I'm at the moment writing my book as well.
Oh wow.
And yeah, in the middle of that. And so it really started. So I start my first chapter of my book saying, and the lily blossomed. So as soon as I realized that my relationship with my 8-year ex-husband was actually a trauma bond.
Right.
So when I realized that, and the way I realized that was through a book that I came across. So first I got myself, when I left him, I got myself a psychotherapist and a coach with my last savings. So I just left a marriage and I was like, what should I do? Oh my God, she was like expensive. And I was like, I've got to do this. And I was like, I can't believe I was in that. Because can you imagine, like 8 years of my life, I was under this, I was not in the conscious level of knowing what I was doing, why I kept going back to him. And recently I reconnected with so many friends and that know me from that time, and they see a different me. They're like, what happened to you? The transformation is amazing. I'm like, yes, it's just every time I had another spiritual awakening and another one and another realization. So the moment that I decided that this was wrong was when I realized that it was a trauma bond, and it wasn't the love that everybody thinks it is.
Right.
It's you might care for somebody. You might have memories with them, but it was a trauma bond. It was from the childhood. So it took me 3 years to finally realize it was the inner child of mine, which is why I'm so passionate about it now, and I help others with it. It was the inner child of mine that didn't feel like I was enough, didn't feel loved.
Yeah.
I had my own mother was actually suffering from mental health, so therefore
You
naturally.
took a
I
lot of
was
that on,
quite
yeah.
I was the oldest. I raised a lot of my cousins and my two sisters. And then one day, actually, I just left home. So that was the first point where I decided to
Right.
have more self-love, when I decided to leave home and that
Yeah.
environment where culture was big. It wasn't really about
Yeah.
God, really. It was about what they wanted.
Yeah.
So that was the day. And I was like, I'm going to trust in God and I'm just going to walk away from that, get myself a psychotherapist. She kind of gave me the love I needed at that moment, because she was like, I believe in you. And that's what I want to do for others. So she did
Right.
that for me. Then I went ahead and I found these books. And I have to mention these amazing books at some point, because these are the books that changed my life. And then a
Okay.
video from a lady called Lisa Romano. So these are a few things that made me feel like, oh my God, they helped me in this way. I'm going to have to speak out about this. I'm going to have to awaken more people to this, because I see women every single day, and men,
Yeah.
suffering from the same trauma bond
Right.
with their partners, and then they're suffering, their health is deteriorating. I suffered actually a very serious illness when I was in that marriage. So your
Wow.
emotions can actually make you very, very sick.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I can definitely connect
so
with that, because I
yeah,
think I went through a similar type of thing with myself, and I suppose at the time you don't realize what's happening. You just think, well, actually, it's just happening, but you don't put things together. And when you're doing that, the light bulb comes on. That's when you can see everything. But
absolutely.
I suppose for people that are out there at home, sat at home watching this, who may be going through this, they might not realize that these things exist, and actually it's not their fault.
No, because it's like they're at this moment in time, there's a lot of people right now in a programming. They haven't
Yeah.
awakened yet. So they haven't gotten aware of their subconscious mind yet. So someone has to get them to the level, because you can't do it by yourself unless, like what happened to me, I actually got a psychotherapist as a coach.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her, maybe I would have still stayed in that vibration
Relationship,
of
that
like,
cycle.
I don't know. And I would have kept going to different, because she actually taught me what love was. She taught me what was healthy love. And that brief session, those brief 3-month sessions with her gave me enough. I still got into more toxic relationships, but I was able to leave them very quicker, like
Yeah.
much, much quicker. So
Because you're aware of what
I,
was going on, and the fact that
that's
it wasn't
it.
working for you.
That's
Yeah.
it. Self-love takes time though, and it took me time to finally say, wait, I absolutely have a brilliant relationship with myself now, and I choose who I want to be with now. And if that person doesn't meet sort of like what I believe is respect to me, healthy
Yeah.
respect, because there is a difference between being a toxic person and putting up walls. And
Yeah.
then, I don't like to use that word toxic, but we try to
Yeah.
protect
Yeah.
ourselves,
Yeah.
after we get hurt. But there's also another thing where we can actually get love again. We can be brave enough and courageous enough where we can recognize a healthy man or a healthy woman in our lives
Yeah.
again. So that's the
Yeah.
process. That's the difficult process that people have to go through, where they have to start having the good relationship with themselves, and then
Yeah.
they can find the love, the true, the sort of
Yeah.
real thing.
You mentioned something there that I want to kind of like just go back to. You talked about obviously relationships, but then the cultural aspect. So people maybe staying in relationships because of it's kind of like expected of them, and it's frowned upon to actually
Yeah.
not to do that. How do you deal with that? How does somebody who's in that situation deal with that?
This is deep for me, because part of my whole mission right now on Instagram and everything that I do is, the root of it is to make people aware what their culture is teaching them. Because this is the thing, a lot of us don't realize this. Although we love the cultural foods, we love the little traditions, it's absolutely fine if you've done a tick box check and checked,
Yeah.
is this cultural thing that I'm doing right now healthy? Is it
Yeah.
toxic or is it healthy? A lot of people say, no, it's a tradition, let's do it. Actually, there's a lot of subliminals in culture. There's a
Yeah.
lot of racism in culture. There's a lot
Yeah.
of sexism in culture. I come from the Bangladeshi background, but I can relate to Caribbean background. I can relate to the African, and I can relate to Indian and Pakistani, because
Yeah.
we're very similar.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same kind of,
Yeah.
it's like a suppression that is put into people, into
Yeah.
men and women. So
That
I've
you must
realized that
behave in this certain way, otherwise you're
that
going against the grain. You're going against your people. Yeah,
yeah,
I definitely can
yes,
I connect with that. I
yeah,
was well, my first marriage. I was married for 8 years, and just was not happy. But the thing that stopped me from moving on was that whole cultural pressure of actually, you're married, you have to stay married. that's the way it is. And if you don't, then all this stuff's going to happen. And for a long time, that kept me in there. It made me, eventually it made me ill. So, but it's, I
Wow.
suppose it's having people out there that can empower you to kind of like see what it is that who you really are and what you really need. That is the most
Yes.
powerful thing, and I think that's what you bring to the table.
It gave me goosebumps when I heard that so many people are going through the same thing. It's almost like repetition.
Yeah,
So, like you said, I want to give the tools to people. I want to give them those tick boxes. I want to say to them, listen, this is healthy boundaries. This is self-love. This, on the other hand, is you people pleasing. And when you people please, you will basically drain your cup. You'll be
yeah,
depleted spiritually, mentally, and physically. Because, sad to say, a lot of mental health issues right now that we have and we see it's prevalent right now is because of the lack of understanding what self-love truly means. It's not
yeah,
conceited. It's actually better for you because when you are a full cup, you then can give your children, you can give your
yeah,
husband, wife, you can also give to the community, to the greater community. And
yeah,
that's the reason why I really truly believe in always putting ourselves first, obviously God, and then putting ourselves
yeah,
first,
yeah.
and
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
I can remember growing up, and it was almost like a diss that when you expressed yourself in terms of love for yourself, it was almost a diss. Who do you think you are? You love yourself, you.
love it.
Hey, what's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with it. You know, and
Absolutely.
it's coming to that realization that these things have existed within us, and we've kind of like we've turned them around the wrong way, and we've used them as an oppression for us now, and we just need to find ways to kind of like break free.
Absolutely. I believe that when I left my home, I kind of did something that not a lot of Asian girls do. So I broke a generational, people can say curse, but I broke a
Yeah,
generational sort of trauma because my grandmother was 11 when she got married. Her mum was 10 when she got married. My
right.
mum was 14. So can you imagine the type of
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that they were mentally going through? And
yeah,
then when I came around, I was given a breath of fresh air by going to school, which they weren't allowed to do.
yeah.
I did a law degree initially.
Wow, okay.
Again,
I didn't know that.
this is yeah, this is what I have. I stopped that because I had children and I wanted to nourish them. So
Yeah,
my values were to nourish them first. And and this is the thing. I felt like I broke that, and it was very hard. And it takes a lot of courage. It means
yeah,
that people would disown you. I was disowned for 5 years, but now I'm back talking to my family, and everybody understands that I am who I am. You just either have to accept me and accept each other and start
yeah.
healing. And I would love to just, I'm at the moment training to become a speaker and writing my book. So I'm really wishing that I can stand on stage someday soon.
It will
And
happen soon, and we'll talk about that. We're going to go for a
yeah,
quick
yeah.
break. When we
Okay.
come back, we're going to be continue talking to Belle about her story and what she's doing now. I'm getting goosebumps because it just rings so true to me in a lot of things that I've seen. But we're going to come back after this break. Don't forget, people, like and subscribe down below. Don't forget to drop your comments, what you think about the show, and who you think we should have on here, what kind of questions we should ask. This is Coach Aqeel, exclusive on VoUK TV. Assalamu alaikum, guys, and welcome back to the Mind, Body and Soul show with myself, Coach Aqeel, exclusively on VoUK TV. And as before, I'm joined by my guest, Belle Kai, Belle Kai, oh, what's wrong with me, man? So she's going to beat me up when she sees me. Okay, she's mermaid gangster, self-love empress, and spiritual self-love teacher, and has been working with women for the past like 5-10 years around kind of like self-love and how to love themselves, and how important, you know, love is just so important. And I think that in our societies that we live in, we've forgotten about love. I can remember I used to have like a WhatsApp group, and I had about 100 people in there, men and women, different backgrounds, different religions, and it was just all about love. But you talk to guys about love and they get nervous, they get scared, and they get all rigid, and they can't talk about it. So why is that? Why can't people talk about it? Why don't we understand what love is?
Wow, so that goes very deep.
Yeah,
So, you see, what I believe love is, and you know how we can actually express love, is the moment that we start to know ourselves and also become vulnerable. And
yeah,
that's the problem, I believe. So I
yeah,
believe that men especially, they're told to toughen up, they're told not to cry,
yeah,
they're told not to release their emotions.
yeah,
So, and unfortunately, most of us, we have childhoods where we're told we're not good enough, the parenting wasn't so great.
yeah,
So we come
yeah,
up where we don't love ourselves. And I feel
yeah,
like that's one of the reasons. If we can't love ourselves, if we can't give ourselves the, you know, the positive talk, the affirmations, you know, the love
yeah.
languages, if we can't give ourselves those love
How are we
languages
going to give it to
of
other
like,
people?
we can't give it to somebody else. And that's basically the
Definitely.
message that I want to, that's the message. That's the
Yeah,
message.
I
You
mean
have to
it's
love
quite
yourself.
interesting, and I do a lot of work with young people. I'm a trained youth worker, and at the moment we've got some issues in. Well, we've always had
Amazing.
these issues in Manchester, but each younger generation that comes through, there's high violence and knife crime, guns, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you talk to people about what the problems are, but they don't get the problem, because for me the problem is it's all about that idea of self-love and love that they receive and how they see love. Because if you, rightly so, if you hate yourself and you've always hated yourself because of the way you've been brought up, you're going to hate everybody else. And
What
once
do we
you
say to
start to
ourselves?
learn to love yourself and actually accept yourself for all your vulnerabilities and all your weaknesses, then you can start to appreciate other people.
Floss them.
So you know, this is why I love what you do. So how do you know? How do people contact? How do you kind of like connect with people, and then what kind of work do you do with them to kind of bring this about and bring this realization about love and understanding about love?
Definitely. So I'm a little bit, so on my healing journey, I found my creativity and I realized that's how you heal, by finding yourself and
Yeah,
then sort of like finding your creativity, which we'll get into a bit later. So I'm quite creative with my Instagram. So you can connect with me on Instagram, which is Empress of Self Love, that way. And then you can go on Facebook, Belle Kai. So you can find me on those two places.
yeah,
And so what I do is I'm currently creating a program so that I can help more people. Because I am a single mother, I like to prioritize myself and also my children. So I decided not to do so many one-to-ones anymore, and I
yeah,
feel like it's better for my children and for me, and we put ourselves first. I realized that
absolutely.
they need me more than ever, because one of the biggest reasons why we have trauma or this self-love deficiency in the first place, as Ross Rosenberg says, is because of childhood. So I really am fixing myself, let's say, every single day, and I'm also being there present for my children. So I
Yeah,
want to work around them. So I do a group. I'm basically now constructing my message and doing a group coaching program and creating a mastermind where it's going to be affordable for women to, after they go through my group coaching, they will have ongoing support for as long as they need to
yeah,
release those emotions. So it won't be just like, hey, you've done a therapy session with me, off you go. It'll be
yeah.
more like, you've done a therapy session, get into the mastermind, I'm here to support you.
And
But I'll
get
be
that
there like once a month
ongoing support and
for
guidance.
however long, yeah, however long, because it's a long journey. It took me a long time. So
Yeah, yeah.
still learning.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we've always got to have this in mind, that it's this. You know, we live in this society where it's always we want the hack, we want the shortcut, And people have got to,
Yeah.
I'm into the gym and the training, and people are always posting these videos about how can I get this in a shortcut. You go into the gym, the guy goes into the gym for the first day, he lifts the weights once, and then he's looking to see if his muscles are grown. It doesn't work like that. You've got to put the work in, and that's
I love
where
that.
change, that's where the magic happens, by consistency. So
I
definitely
absolutely love
having
that.
this program, but then something after the program to keep supporting people is definitely
I,
something I think will be kind of very beneficial.
yeah, absolutely. It's like, and it's actually missing right now. When I was on my journey, I felt like what was missing for me. I didn't have family a lot around. I didn't have a lot of friends around because when you're in a toxic relationship, they
Yeah,
isolate you first. That's what they
yeah,
do. So when I got out, I was like, okay, I'm just me and myself. It's just me. And this is the thing. Everybody has to learn to take responsibility for themselves because sometimes I can say I was in a toxic relationship. I can say he was a narcissist, but it's actually myself that actually attracted that. So what was it that attracted that? And this is the
yeah.
biggest message. What is it about me? I was a people pleaser. I was a codependent. I lacked self-love. I didn't have strong boundaries. This is and this is why I attracted that in the first place. So I didn't know
So, so,
better.
so, and is an interesting point, as well as the fact that you're attributing the trauma that you went through because you attracted it. Now, most time when you speak with people about when something negative happens, they always want to, they want to blame it as that person's fault. You did this to me. And the thing about when you point at somebody, you don't recognise that when you point, you've got three fingers pointing back at you. I suppose when I do workshops with young people, kind of like it's getting them to actually recognise that you're responsible for every action, and that whole idea about attraction, that you
Amazing.
attract things to you, that your energy attracts different things to you. You've got to, when you're aware of that, then you're a lot more cautious about kind of like how you present yourself, because then that's a type of protection. And if you love yourself, you're only going to attract people that can then love you back. So I think that is
Exactly.
spot on. And obviously,
Mirrors.
in your day to day, this is what you're doing now. I mean, if you guys at home listen, make sure you go and check out her Facebook page or the Instagram page and just watch what she does. Because I very rarely comment,
Thank you.
but I do watch the videos, and I just think, wow. Especially all the
Thank
dancing
you.
stuff, because I've got two left feet, I can't dance, and I feel really maybe that's one thing, and maybe that's like a challenge I'm going to set for myself. I'm going to learn to dance,
Yeah,
because and just to
absolutely.
express myself in that way. But I can see that. I can remember when did we first meet? When was it?
Oh
It was
wow. I think it was about 2 years ago.
with the program with Siawash, wasn't it?
We were training and coaching together,
That's right.
and
Yeah,
so that was
and
an interesting part of my life actually. When
yeah,
that time happened, I just left two toxic relationships and I
right.
found a job from home, and that's how I did it.
And I just know, as I see from the journey that you've gone on from where you were there, and then all of a sudden you just exploded, boom, and you became
Yes,
who you really were.
blossomed.
Yeah, and that's that. I've never told you this, but that's what I saw that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see this in people, especially women, that
Hmm.
we kind of people take on kind of like roles that kind of like, I suppose, fits their environment that they're in. So they've been restricted, so therefore they restrict themselves, and
That's the
to an
word.
extent, you're not going to maintain it for too long, and eventually one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to crack up, or you're going to blossom. You're going to explode. So right, that's it.
That's
I'm
it.
being me, and that's what I see with you. You've just exploded, and boom, you're on the scene, and you're doing all this amazing stuff. So, hats off to you, because it's really
Thank
really
you.
really really great to watch. And like now you're kind of like here, and you're putting something back, and you're trying to reach out and help other women in that
Yeah.
situation, and men, to break free
Yes.
and to be themselves.
Absolutely. It's just such a powerful thing. Like you said, I loved what you said with the crack or you blossom. And if you crack, then you either go into a mental institution or you get into another toxic relationship or you don't live fully to your potential.
Yeah,
So a big part of this is, look, I'm a singer and songwriter and dancer. And these three things I suppressed for many, many years.
yeah,
And now I can create my positivity and healing together and mix
yeah.
those up like Sufi music. It's what I'm working on at the moment. And it's something that really healed me. So you have to find what it is for you. It
And
could be
who you
art.
are, and be that, and
Yeah,
be in that essence.
yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, we're gonna.
Absolutely.
I can see that one of your children's in the background, so we're gonna go and take a quick break. Who is it? Get her on the camera.
Come,
Who
come and
is
say
it?
hello. So this is Kian.
Hey, salam alaikum. Who's this guy?
Say hello to Akil.
Hello, Q.
What's your
Hello.
name?
What's your name?
What's your name?
He's gone all shy. Okay, we're
Yeah,
going to
this
go
is the
for a quick
youngest.
break again, guys. Really, again, this interview is just blowing me away. It's just absolutely amazing, and I feel that a lot of great's going to come from this. This is Coach Aqeel,
Awesome.
Mind, Body, and Soul, exclusively on VoUK TV. Please stay with me, and we'll be right back after the break. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome back. This is Coach Aqeel here exclusively on VoUK TV with the Mind, Body and Soul show. Got my special guest, Belle Kai, talking about self-love and how to love yourself and can really be in your essence. As always, guys, please click like and subscribe down below and click the notification button so that you get to know when the new videos are uploaded and you get to watch them first. Welcome back. How are you feeling?
Hey, absolutely great. Energized. Talking about
Brilliant.
self-love is always really great.
Brilliant. So I'm just curious now. So how, someone comes to you, there's been through toxic relationship and they've been through all these problems. How does your program help them? What do you actually do with people? Because I know you work with men and women, don't you?
Yeah, so I used to work with both, but now I've kind of niched down to just women.
Okay.
There are exceptions. At the moment, I'm just trying to create a program for women specifically, and
Okay.
there's two main steps that I take them through, but there's more sub steps as well. And
Yeah.
the first thing is that we reconnect my clients. I reconnect them with their inner child. So I take them back to their childhood. I create some sort of affirmations for them to listen to. We go through a lot of different stages.
Okay.
There's a lot of crying that we have to do because the crying is the healing stage. We soothe the inner child, we listen to the inner child, and then we explore who we really are beneath all of those filters of
Okay.
whatever happened. So all the traumas, beneath all of them, we get rid of all of them slowly and gently, and then we start to get to know ourselves. And then that's the next stage, the exploration. And then we explore ourselves. We start to do things from childhood that we love to do and that felt good to us, and we acknowledge the things that didn't feel good. We then go out and broaden our horizons, and we start looking for things that we would love to do now, because now the fear or whatever was stopping us is kind of slowly diminishing itself. So that's basically what we do. And I do the exploration stage and healing through dancing. So we do this. I'm working with somebody who's going to be doing the course with me. She's going to be doing meridian point dancing. So every time you move a certain part of your body, there is healing and releasing.
Oh, right, okay.
And I'll be teaching poetic expression. So I'll be giving a workshop on how to poetic express yourself. So just write some poetry and express yourself. And I want them to stand there, because it's suppression to expression. That's what really happens.
Right.
And then I will put them into the mastermind, which is the ongoing healing vortex sisterhood. At the moment, it's a sisterhood, but I'm going to be creating a brotherhood. I'm just looking for collaborations to help me and support me with that. So that's basically how the journey is. Yeah.
So now when you talk about inner child, what just for the readers, some people at home may not know what that means. What do we mean when we talk about inner child?
That's true, and it's a new word. It's very alien to a lot of people. So inner child is really understanding what your subconscious mind has been saying to you since you was a child. So most of us, we're walking, talking in our adult bodies, but we're actually still children inside. And it's because we haven't been connected to the child, because when we
Yeah.
were children, we kind of sometimes we disconnect ourselves. So
Yeah.
part of us is not understanding that actually being vulnerable, being playful, doing the things we love is actually a healing thing.
Yeah.
But we're actually told at a young, some of us, I was told at a young age that be an adult, be quiet. That's the reason
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
parenting is such a serious thing. So uh, even now, the way I parent my children is going to affect them for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
So it's basically understanding the subconscious thoughts, your negative self-talk, your inner critic, and understanding there's three parts. Sometimes, you can talk to someone, and when you're triggered, that is when either your parent self is talking, so it's the parent that was talking to you as a child,
Yeah.
and sometimes when you're triggered, it's actually the child who's basically having a tantrum.
Yeah.
So this is why we have emotional issues. We have depression, we have outbursts, anger issues. You were mentioning the youth you work with.
Yeah.
This is because they don't know how to deal with their emotions, and
Yeah.
they don't realize that they're being
Absolutely.
programmed from the subconscious mind. So that's basically what
Yeah,
it is, if
definitely.
that's clear.
And that's, I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
kind of like very important. I was having a conversation with a with a friend of mine the other day, and funny enough, he's got we've both got twin boys the same age, and he was kind of like complaining because he said that both our twins are 14 now, so they're getting in that transitional stage, and he was complaining that they don't really want to. Back when they were younger, they wanted to come in, everyone wanted to sit next to dad, and everyone wanted to be next to dad or next to mum, and they don't do that now. And then when they come in, they want to be a bit more independent. It's almost, and I was saying to them, this is almost that transition now where they're going from being a child, where you were the be all and end all, to actually recognizing their own self-existence and their own self-power and wanting to be independent. And it's a natural process, but you've just got to let it. It's going to happen. It's got to happen. But I think what can
Yes.
happen though with families is that child is almost, what's the word I want to use, dragged out of them, in terms of stop being a kid, grow up, and that's traumatic for a child. I know
Yes.
this. I tell this whenever I work with groups of people, and I tell them that I work with a man who didn't cry for 40 years because he when he was a child, he was told that crying was for babies and you're a crybaby. So that person made the decision when they were about 7 that they're never going to cry
Yes.
again. And at the end
That's
of the
it.
program, I tell them that person was me. And I didn't cry for 40 years. I was unable to, because I
Amazing.
programmed my mind that actually crying was childish and I didn't want to be be a child anymore. And it wasn't until I did Tony Robbins' UPW
Wow.
that I was able to reconnect with that child, and it was quite it's quite an amazing experience. And if anyone hasn't done is into personal development and hasn't done Tony Robbins' UPW,
You should do
definitely
it.
recommend to go and do it, because it will open your eyes. Because I can remember that night me and my friend, I don't know if you remember Brother Sadat, we went to we did the course
Yes,
together.
I remember him.
And we were going home on the tube, and we were sat with other people who were coming from the conference, and we met this guy, and we just talked about how great it was to cry. So I suppose my message out there for all you guys out there, all you tough guys, I think that you're tough. You want to be
Yes.
tough, you want to be a real man, learn to cry,
Yeah.
learn to recognize that you are fallible and that you do make mistakes, and that this is how you're supposed to be.
Be vulnerable. It's the most
Yeah.
attractive thing. I believe in a man personally, as a conscious woman. It's vulnerability from a man. It's just the ability to just say to me, hey, like for example, in a situation, if I was with a partner, like just say, I want you to do more of this, or I
Yeah.
want to have more hugs. Just something simple, like hug me more.
Yeah.
Just something simple like that. That's
Yeah,
it.
definitely. Well, I think I say this society that we live in, it's not the done thing, and everyone's got to be super tough and super cool, and they've got to be the TV
Yes.
star, and it just doesn't work. And people have got to kind of wake up and start being happy to be vulnerable, because being vulnerable
Yes.
sets you free. A lot of time, people who are afraid to be vulnerable are afraid of being hurt. And what I
Yes.
tell them is this: is that if you if that power you're giving somebody because you're scared of being hurt or being mocked about a particular thing, if you're giving that power to that person, because then they will mock you and say, oh, you're scared of this, you're scared of that, and that gives them the power. What you need to do is actually own that. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm scared of this, but it's not a big deal. That takes that power away from them and gives it to you, and that allows you to be who you are. And it's when that penny drops with people, that's when they kind of raise. Normally, when they get a little bit older and have a bit more experience. But so how do you teach that to your clients? That whole idea of vulnerability when they're facing this for the first time and they've been stuck in this tough state. How do you break that down?
Wow. Okay. So it's a process where they come to the realization by themselves, because what happens is, if I just tell them, because I can hear somebody and I can listen to them talk and I can be like, I know what's going on. But if I say it to them there and then, they will get triggered. They will be defensive. This is the process. They'll get defensive. They'll get triggered. They will feel like, oh my God, she's making me feel uncomfortable. And so what I do, I get them to write down their childhood, the good parts of their childhood very deeply, and then the bad parts. And I ask them to be as honest as possible. And throughout that process, they cry. It is a lot of crying. And then we go and find items that they have from their childhood that would help them to soothe. So actual pictures of their childhood self, where they can see themselves at different ages and reconnect with that child again. And then we also do meditation, because meditation helps slow down your brain state so that you can actually access more of that. So when you was a child, the better or theta state, and really just slow down. So meditation, just being really in a quiet room and slowing down for a few minutes, even if you don't like the full-blown meditation, just really being quiet. And journaling. So journaling is another way. So these are really important parts of that, finding that process, because I teach them how to ask questions. So for example, hey, I keep feeling like I'm left out. One client was saying to me, she feels like she cannot connect with other people. And then we found out together that actually it's because she's not putting herself out there more. So I asked her, why is it that you don't do that? So we figured out that in her childhood, she was always told, like you mentioned in the beginning of this, we was like ridiculed for standing up, or told, you can't do that. You can't ever be a lawyer. I was told that as a child. So you can never be this, you can never be that. So it's like being there and standing there. And also another thing that is very interesting, when our children are curious at ages like that and they touch things, when we scream at them, we don't realize it's actually harmful. We all did this. I had to go to parenting classes and understand this, because when we scream at them, we're training them at that age that they're not allowed to jump out of there and take that leap in life. So then in adulthood, we don't do the things that we feel are courageous.
Absolutely.
This is basically what I do with the clients. And then we do dancing, healing work afterwards. And we carry on the journaling, and we carry on because every single time they get into a different relationship, if they do decide to get into a relationship, they will be triggered by something, and then they'll learn a deeper layer of themselves. It's like an onion. You peel it, you cry. You peel it, you cry, and it just carries on. And that's basically the process.
Brilliant. Right, we're going to take another quick short break. I'm just really loving this. This is Coach Aqeel. I'm here with my special guest, Belle Kai, Mermaid Gangster, and Mind, Body and Soul, Coach Aqeel, exclusively on VoUK TV. Please, guys, make sure you come back after the break, and we're going to finish off, and we're going to be talking to Belle about how you guys can get in touch with her and can connect with her and how she can help you. This is Coach Aqeel, VoUK TV. Peace out. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Wow, what an amazing show. We're coming to the end. We're going to kind of finish off with Belle, and she's going to be talking about how you can get in touch, how you can connect with her, and how she can help you. But as always, please click like and subscribe down below. Drop us some comments about what you think about today's program, and let me know who we should have on the show next. Okay, Belle, welcome back. I say this show has been absolutely amazing. I'm just really warm with kind of like all the things that you've been speaking about, the idea of kind of like love, and I'm really kind of like hoping that you can connect with our viewers and kind of like give them some help. So how can people get in touch with you and get on your programs?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm basically, my tag is Empress of Self-Love, and you can just message me there, or you can find me on Facebook where I'm more active. So I've got more things going on my Facebook page as Belle Kai. So you'll see Belle Kai, aka Empress of Self-Love, and the mermaid gangster part of me. Wondering why I was knighted by one
Where
of
does
my
this come?
mentors
Where does the
because-
mermaid gangster come from?
Yeah.
What is a mermaid gangster?
So the mermaid gangster is us really accepting our dark sides. It's just really understanding that it's okay to have those boundaries. It's not okay to just be this quiet little person in the corner and allow others to walk all over you. So the mermaid gangster in me is what I became once I had my boundaries in place, and I just love it. And I thought others of you can become mermaid gangsters too, or mermen gangsters. You know. So.
Is there such thing as a merman?
I think it could exist.
So if somebody, let's say if somebody got in touch with you and they watched you on your program, what process would they go through to kind of connect with you? What would actually happen?
Okay, so I do, at the moment, one-to-one is something I'm not doing, but I am considering doing it after I get my group coaching programming involved. So I do the mastermind where, you know, still assessing whether that's enough really, to be, because I really want to make sure it helps people thoroughly. I don't just want to say, hey, 12 weeks. And so I'm still working on that. The way that we'll go on a call, we'll get on a call and I'll see what it is that you're going through and whether I have the specialties to help you, because sometimes there's different types of mental health that I won't be dealing with because I feel like that's above my specialty.
Yeah.
So what I will deal with mostly is confidence, depression. It can heal all of those things like depression, anxiety, and all of that.
Yeah.
It's like the process of it. But really, it's about confidence. If you're feeling like you don't have confidence in your life right now, I will go on a call with you and we'll discuss it and we'll see if we can go further with that. That's how we'll go through it.
Yeah. If somebody contacted you and they were kind of like in a relationship that was kind of like abusive, but it was physically abusive, how would you deal with that? And they were in there and it was still going on. How would you be able to help them? What do you think was the best thing for them to do?
So this is very interesting. I was working with women in that situation for a while, and I kind of moved away from it because I realized that the way that I actually can capture people is by doing this, is by talking about my life with you, Aqeel, or with any other person, because then they wake up. I realized when they're in that relationship, they're subconsciously very much programmed still, and they're under something called narcissistic abuse.
Right.
So I'm unable to help them at that point, I've realized, unless someone close to them sends my videos, which I'm working on my YouTube channel right now. So my YouTube channel will be called Empress of Self-Love. At the moment, it's getting reconstructed. And it's just really sending my stuff to those people. If you know anyone who is suffering from, this narcissistic abuse, they're isolating themselves, they're not telling you their needs, and you can see that they're being controlled by someone.
Yeah.
I would say send them my YouTube video channel, tell them about my Instagram page, just do that, because if they listen to it, and if they read those two books, Human Magnet Syndrome by Ross Rosenberg, and the other book called Should I Stay or Should I Leave by Romani Durvasula. So these are two amazing books that will really wake them up.
Yeah.
So that's basically how it is. And how I would help is basically I would suggest these books to them. I will give my videos to them and other people that I recommend, though it's actually a very tough thing. So I actually wait for the women to sort of leave those relationships. And then when they're ready to restart their life, that's when they come to me. They're like, you know what, I want to be myself again. I want to be, even men, They want to be themselves again. They just left a very toxic relationship and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't really know how to not get into
Who I
another
am or
toxic
how I
one.
am. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or how to protect myself. So that's basically how I do it now at the moment. Just
Brilliant,
share
brilliant.
books,
And hopefully what we'll
knowledge.
do, we'll get your details on screen so that if anyone is watching this and kind of is going through some kind of problems, that they can get in touch with you. And obviously, if you're at home and you're watching this and you are suffering domestic abuse and especially violence, then
Yes.
please do get in touch with the police, because they have, I mean, nowadays they have like these units that are really highly trained, and they have people in there that can help you and make sure that you are safe, and you shouldn't have to suffer in
Yeah,
silence.
absolutely. I wanted to add that I actually went through a process where the police were absolutely exceptional. Don't be afraid. Just call the police. And also, they have refuges available for women. They have courses available for the initial stages. And they will
Yeah,
even take you away to a separate accommodation. So this is the thing. You have to have the courage to really leave the comfort of the money your narcissist ex is giving you, or the comfort of society. And if you really want to
yeah,
save yourself and heal, you're going to have to step out. This is
yeah.
my advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I've worked in kind of like projects where there was a lot of women coming to us, young women coming to us with suffering for domestic violence and also other things. And one of the things that we do
Yeah.
say is that it's a cycle of change, and we can't just go in there and say, okay, this is wrong, this is not good for you, that they're going to leave. It doesn't work like that. It's almost that they've got to be ready to make that change. And I
Yes.
suppose that's when they're ready to make that change, that's when people like yourself or myself are there, and we're able to help and can like be
Yes.
effective in that. So yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely amazing.
Definitely.
What's next for you then?
What's
the next
next?
step for you? Yeah.
For me, it's in that programs like to the best possible state that it actually impacts people on a very big level. And I want to speak. So I want to combine my music and dancing and healing and everything and start speaking on stage. So I'm a little bit like, I would describe myself as slash with Tony Robbins and people like Gabor Mate, who's
Yeah.
very into the whole inner child healing, and I would say Lisa Nichols. These are my role models. Yasmin Mugahed, just really just myself, just combining all of these things and just standing on stage and making impact. So at some point it's going to be, we've had COVID situation now, but I want to do offline, to be honest with you. At the moment
Yeah.
it's going to be online, but I really want to impact people by standing in front of them, and that's when
Yeah.
I feel
And
the real
connecting with
connection.
them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the technology is great, but there's nothing beats actually being in front of somebody, being able to connect with them, be to touch them, and to kind of like really affect their hearts through
Yes.
what you
Yes.
do. And I hope
Yes.
that this kind of works out. And I you know, we're from Manchester, and all the kind of personal development stuff seems to happen in London. I always get a bit frustrated with it. But one of the things that I'm maybe looking to do in the future is to set something up in Manchester where we can have like even if it's like little mini seminars once or twice a month, where we can bring positive people down like yourself so that people can actually connect with them and see what they're about in that kind of environment where it's, you know, you're going to go there, you're going to meet people, you're going to get
Yes.
in with a lot of energy and
Yes.
kind of like hopefully start that journey of being kind of like healed. So when we kind of like get that hooked up, I'll definitely be calling
Yes.
you back down to be a part of that.
I would love to. I feel like speaking for me is my thing. So even if it's on YouTube and speaking at events such as your event, that's how we're going to get the biggest impact.
Yeah,
When someone
definitely.
hears it, I feel like that's the moment that they'll have that bell ring, and then that's it. They're on that
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Self-mastery.
Yeah, definitely. We'll look forward to that. So what's your key message now as we're heading towards the close now? What's your key message that you want to put out there for anyone that's kind of listening? What's your final statement?
Final statement.
I
I would
put you on the
say,
spot there, 'cause I didn't tell you I was going to do this, did I?
no, but it's great. It's great. I love it. I love the flow. I would definitely say that everything in life gets better once you have love, because I believe self-love for yourself. Because what does that mean? People say, what is self-love? Where it's just basically putting yourself first. It's nourishing yourself. It's working on the mind, body and soul, as Aqeel does, the work that he does. It's really accessing it and understanding what mind, body, soul means. fixing your mental health, eating healthy, and understanding that your body, you have to look after your body to look after
Yeah.
your mind,
Yeah.
and then your spirit. All three of them work together. You
All
cannot have
connected.
one. They're all connected, and you really do have to put yourself first in every way. So there's like 5 areas of holistic self-development.
Okay.
And it's your sort of like your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being, your physical well-being, and the last one, what am I forgetting? Oh, your relationships. Because
Yeah.
if you're in a toxic relationship, you cannot heal when you're in a toxic environment.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest message to you guys, really. If you're going to work on those 5 holistic areas, and you want to heal your traumas, and you don't want to ever be in that situation and have a better life, really, my message is to live the best life. You have to have the maddest love for yourself,
Yeah.
and basically the baddest boundaries, and basically start blossoming into the real you.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think that's absolutely spot on, and I definitely believe that people at home will kind of like benefit from this. I've loved having you on. We had a few technical difficulties
Thank you for having
getting
me.
the show together, but we've got it done. And I just
Honoured.
I hope that lots of women, lots of people out there who are actually suffering at the moment and believe that they're by themselves and isolated can now kind of like begin to kind of like make moves to move forward and start to for them
Yes.
own selves to kind of like to blossom and to be who they
Yes.
they were meant to be. So thank you very
Absolutely.
much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've come to the end of our show today now. I'd like to thank my guest for being on all the way from London. And hello, he's back again. What's his name?
Here's Kian.
Kian. Hello, Kian. Excellent.
Wave at the camera. Wave at the camera.
Say hello, Kian. Mashallah, mashallah. So that's it for today, guys. So don't forget, click like and subscribe down below. Click the notification button so you get to know when the videos are being uploaded. This has been an amazing show, and I'm really enthused, and I'm really hopeful for the future. Thank you very much, Belle, for being on, for being my guest. And for all you guys at home, please do drop us some comments down below, and make sure you join us next week at the same time with me, Coach Aqeel, Mind, Body and Soul, exclusively on VoUK TV. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.